We continue our review of audits adjacent to the compliance space by looking at the Integrity Audit. The compliance tip of the day. This is the podcast where we bring you daily insights and practical advice on navigating the ever-evolving landscape of compliance requirements. Whether you're a seasoned compliance professional or just starting your journey, my aim in this podcast is to provide you with a bite-sized, actionable tip to help you stay on top of your compliance game. And now I'd like to say a few words about the latest podcast on the Compliance Podcast Network, AI Today in 5 with 5. Thrilled to announce the inaugural episode of my latest podcast series, AI Today in 5. I wanted to do a short, curated set of stories and news stories about AI for the compliance professional and the greater business professional. You can check it out on Megaphone, the Compliance Podcast Network, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Apple, or wherever great podcasts are listened to. Check out AI Today in 5. Most interestingly, the idea for the integrity audit comes from Mary Jo White, and I derived it out of an article she wrote, What I've Learned About White-Collar Crime. It lays out a framework for you to think about the integrity audit. White first addresses the question of why senior executives would engage in financial fraud or otherwise engage in or facilitate bribery and corruption. She said that part of the motivation is greed, but there's more to it than that. The piece the public underestimates, and auditors as well, is ego. The reality is that many CEOs are incredibly competitive, and one of the things that propelled them into the CEO chair in the first place. Put simply, there is a great fear of failure. This means that when the market or consumer public turns on them, they need to be perceived as successful. There's often a financial motive, but in a highly charged business where there are temptations, you have to account for human nature and the need for status and continued success. Jonathan Marks has fleshed this concept more broadly in his creation of the fraud pentagon. He labeled one of the prongs as arrogance, which made it one of the 5 prongs on his pentagon. Arrogance or lack of conscience is an attitude of superiority and entitlement or greed on the part of the person who believes that the rules and procedures simply don't apply to them. Perhaps fueled by today's obscene compensation structures, have a completely disregard for the consequences on their victims. Competence and arrogance play a major role in determining whether an employee today has what it takes to perpetuate a fraud. Even when you put someone who has always been successful, does not think the rules apply to them, and then you have a market downturn, the combination can be alarming. Without senior leaders leading in the area of integrity, there is a little chance a company can make a comeback for a white-collar crime. If you're a new leader in an organization, you have to let people know, and you have to let them know what your values are, and equally importantly, you need to be audited on this. One vital marker of an integrity culture is whether there really is a zero-tolerance policy for wrongdoing. Many companies claim to have one, but when the high producers or senior people break the rules, leaders, including senior execs and board of directors, will often look the other way. This undermines everything. You cannot simply rely on compliance and audits. You have to be willing to punish people who violate the rules. So this is something that I think is going to become more important, and these ideas are not really new or revolutionary or even controversial. Yet integrity is not often considered by compliance professionals, and I think it's something that you should. With the Business Roundtable's statement on the purpose of a corporation, integrity has been driven to the forefront of a raison d'etre of a corporation. So what are today's 3 key takeaways? Number 1, the integrity audit is an underutilized tool. 2, ego and arrogance at the CEO level can lead to catastrophic corporate failures. And 3, a robust report culture can demonstrate and facilitate corporate integrity. I hope you'll join us tomorrow where we consider something that I found incredibly interesting and perhaps useful, the mock audit. Things that I'm happy to do for you, the compliance profession is if you have a question or a series of questions you would like some compliance tips on, I'm happy to take any requests that you might want, certainly anonymize them, and give you a quick tip, either one quick tip or maybe a week's worth of quick tips. So if you have any tips you want about your compliance program, you can shoot me an email at tfox@tfoxlaw.com. This podcast was created and produced